Ever since Minas Tirith was revealed, I've had a serious Lord of the Rings itch. I don't really have the room to build it though, but I do have bins full of unused minifigure parts, so I figured it was finally time to build a proper Rohan army. The problem is the official Rohan soldiers now cost around $35 each because there aren't any battle packs or even current sets with them full stop. Today, we're building an army using parts from Castle, Vikings, CMFs, and a bunch of other themes. We've got 50 figures to make, so let's get into it. Let's start with the main characters, all primarily based on their movie appearances. The standard King Theoden minifigure already looks great, but I wanted a version of him outside of battle as well. I combined his original torso with the CMF actor legs, added a dark red cape, his original head, and the hair and crown mold from the Series 29 Elf Princess. I think this captures his royal look really well. Next up is Eomer. I took the original figure, gave him some gloves, and swapped the helmet to Fili's hair for a helmetless version. Since the hair matches his beard so well, it honestly looks like they were meant to go together. Another key character is Eowyn, so I tried my best to recreate her Shield Maiden outfit using Gimli's torso with Dragon Paladin arms, the Series 29 Monster Hunter legs, an old Ginny Weasley head, and some blonde hair for her classic look. You can always give her the Series 20 Viking helmet, but I like leaving the main characters without helmets since they're a bit more recognizable that way. Finally, I made a couple more important characters using the new Griffin Knight torso and legs as the base with dark green capes, Hamma and Gamling. For Gamling, I used Thor's head with some dark tan hair. He's maybe a little happier than he should be, but the beard matched so well that it was kind of the only option. For Hamma, I used the original Rohan soldier head with some medium nougat hair, and I think he ended up looking surprisingly close to his movie appearance. If you're looking for the most accurate, purest Rohan soldier, this is probably the best combination I found. The Griffin Knight torso and legs, a dark green cape, beard, Series 20 Viking helmet, plume to represent the hair, and of course an official Rohan shield. Unfortunately, this guy isn't exactly cheap. The helmet, plume, and shield alone cost around $25, which almost defeats the whole point of making a custom version. Although I do think this version looks more accurate than the original. The good news is that there are plenty of cheaper alternatives. You can skip the plume, swap to a pearl dark gray or brown helmet, and it'll show some shield options later on that save a ton of money, while still looking good. I also recommend using the dark green Mandalorian capes from Capes for Minifigs if you don't mind going off-brand. They look even closer to the movies and only cost about $1 each. Anyways, let's start filling out the ranks with a variety of designs. An easy combination is this green dragon torso and legs as the base. I gave him an Eomer helmet since I had a few extras lying around, and I like the gold accents to help him stand out as maybe a higher ranking soldier. If you're looking for a cheaper option, this Old Kingdom's chainmail torso works really well and is only around $3. I paired it with the Wolfpack Beastmaster chainmail parts, a pick-a-brick helmet, a brick-built spear, and a plain shield. Even without any Lord of the Rings parts, I still think he fits right in with the rest of the army. Another relatively affordable armored torso is this old 2004 Viking one that I've paired with the Series 3 elf legs. I also made a slightly different style of brick-built spear here, and it's a great alternative to the expensive dual molded ones. You'll probably notice throughout this army that I keep coming back to the Griffin Knight torso and legs. They're easily my favorite modern part for Rohan soldiers. This time, I swapped the arms to dark green and gave him a shield from the Viking village. It's a great alternative if you want some dark green and gold without spending $10 on an official Rohan shield. We're only a fifth of the way done with the minifigures, but they're already looking solid together and starting to look like a real army. If you're after a more uniform army, I definitely recommend sticking with the Griffin torsos, but there's still plenty of room for variety. For example, the new Series 29 Monster Hunter legs work surprisingly well. I added the Wolfpack Beastmaster arms, and although the chainmail and scale mail don't match, I like how they bring a little more brown into the color scheme while having some printing. Another torso that matches the Griffin legs incredibly well is this old Viking one. I paired it with the Series 4 Viking shield as the simpler wooden look works well. The dragons on it are so small that they don't really bother me, and honestly, I still think it fits the Rohan aesthetic pretty well. Another pair of legs that work nicely with this torso are Eomer's, although now they're over 10 times more expensive than the Griffin legs, so I definitely wouldn't go out of my way to buy them nowadays. Eventually I'll swap most of the capes over to dark green, but I do like mixing in a little olive green for some extra variety. While we're on the topic of 2004 Viking torsos, here's another great chainmail option. This time I paired it with the Wolfpack Beastmaster legs and Tasha the Witch Queen's arms. It's a simple combination, but I think it works really well. The next one was more of an experiment. I used the CMF Centaur torso with the Bear Knight legs, and while the combo is decent, I'm not completely sold on it for Rohan soldiers. I built this guy about a year ago while testing different combinations, and I'll probably end up taking him apart. Still, if you're just looking to bulk out your army with more dark green, it's not a terrible option. Speaking of the Bear Knight, his torso and legs honestly work great for Rohan without any changes. I especially like them with the Pearl Dark Grey Viking helmet. As much as I associate Rohan with dark green though, they actually use quite a bit of dark red as well. So I took Gimli's torso, added some Wolfpack Beastmaster arms and Griffin Knight legs, then gave him an Eomer helmet with this unique axe from Rivendell. If you already own some official Rohan soldiers like I do, pairing the original torso with Eomer's legs is probably the cleanest upgrade you can make. I'm honestly surprised LEGO didn't use these legs originally because they look like they were made for each other. I also experimented with adding the Beastmaster arms to one of them just to mix things up a little. I really hope to see some official Rohan battle packs in the future, but it seems like LEGO is allergic to affordable Lord of the Rings sets. Anyways, back to the figures, I also wanted to make a slightly more elite version using the original Rohan torso. I added Dragon Paladin arms, some 2013 castle legs, and the Series 20 Viking helmet to give him some gold accents. I even gave him a gold tipped spear since I was starting to run out of the silver ones, and thankfully this gold version is cheaper. Here's another fairly simple combination using some Old Kingdom's chainmail parts with dark green arms and the original Rohan accessories. There's nothing too flashy here, but it's a good reminder of just how expensive the official Rohan parts have become. The helmet, shield, and spear alone are worth around $20. Another solid budget torso is the one from the Series 4 Viking. It looks fantastic with the Wolfpack Beastmaster arms, and I finished the figure off with some matching chainmail legs. This torso can easily be found for around $1 or $2, and it's a great option for filling out the ranks of a Rohan army. The last chainmail torso I hadn't used yet was the Series 19 Fright Knight torso, so I combined it with the Bear Knight legs, dark green arms, the Series 4 Viking shield, and a tomahawk style axe. I like giving the figures different weapons just to make the army feel a little less repetitive. The Series 20 Viking helmet obviously looks great in dark bluish gray or pearl dark gray, but I was surprised by how much I liked the brown version from the Kraken Knights. I wouldn't use it as your baseline helmet if you're going for a more uniform army, but mixing a few into the ranks adds some nice variety. One of the harder to find torsos that work incredibly well for Rohan is the Series 3 Elf. It pairs nicely with these Lord of the Rings elf legs, and I love that it even includes cape printing. It's definitely one of my favorite torso options in the whole army. Going back to another excellent scale mail torso, the green dragon one looks fantastic with flat silver arms and the Series 19 Fright Knight legs. The dark green Mandalorian cape is just a cherry on top, and I love this combo for a heavier armored Rohan soldier. I liked the Bear Knight parts so much that I just had to use them again, although this time I swapped in the Wolfpack Beastmaster chainmail arms for a slightly different look. Here's another great chainmail combination using an old Viking torso with the Kingdom's Lion Knight chainmail legs. I really hope LEGO gives us some more chainmail prints in the future because there just aren't many good options at the moment, and these ones cost around $5 each. This next torso comes from Knight's Kingdom, and it's maybe a little fancier than most Rohirrim would wear, but I don't mind mixing in a handful of soldiers that look a little more decorated to give the army some variety. Back to a combo so nice I had to use it twice, we've got the Kingdom's Lion Knight torso with the Beastmaster parts again. There are only so many good chainmail prints out there, so you'll definitely notice a few combinations popping up more than once. This is where building armies really starts getting satisfying. Individually, these are just a bunch of custom minifigures, but once you line them all up together, they start to feel like an actual army. Interestingly, most of the top torso prints for this army actually come from castle and Viking themes from the early 2000s and 2010s. It just goes to show that LEGO doesn't make generic armored prints as much as they used to, and I really hope they'll design some more in the future. Anyways, speaking of Viking parts, here's another figure using an old scale mail torso with Eomer's legs. This is actually the only reddish brown beard in the whole army because it was exclusive to the King CMF and now costs around $10. LEGO, please bring this color back. Sticking with the Viking pieces, I also made another simple soldier using this other torso paired with the griffin legs. Nothing too crazy here, just another solid combination that fits the army well. I hadn't used this black green dragon torso yet, so I paired it with its original legs, added some dragon paladin arms, and leaned into the gold accents with a gold tipped spear and an official Rohan shield. He definitely feels like one of the higher ranking soldiers. Finally, for the last of the melee infantry, I used another Viking torso and paired it with dark green arms and the Series 19 Fright Knight legs. I tried using a variety of different beard pieces underneath the helmets throughout this army, and it's a small detail, but I think it gives them quite a bit more personality and individuality. Moving on to the archers, I wanted to start with more of a captain type figure. I used the Griffin Knight torso with dual molded arms from the Series 20 Viking, some Han Solo legs that work surprisingly well, and topped him off with another Yeomer helmet. Honestly, this guy might be one of my favorite figures in the entire army. One of the specifically memorable archers from the movies is Aldor, the old man who accidentally lets his arrow fly too early at Helm's Deep. As soon as I came across the surprised face from Professor Flitwick, I knew I had to build him. I paired it with some long white hair, Keely's torso, and the Series 4 Viking legs. I definitely need to use this guy in a Helm's Deep mock someday. Now let's build some standard archers. This first one uses the original Rohan torso with some Uruk-hai legs, and if you don't have any Yeomer legs lying around, this is probably the next best option. Since the archers don't need as much armor, I also wanted to use a few lighter looking torsos. This build a minifigure Viking torso works really well with the Series 29 Monster Hunter legs, and it's made entirely from pretty accessible parts. Another budget friendly option is this brown and olive green Viking village torso. I paired it with some Beastmaster legs and Tasha the Witch Queen's arms, and I really like how this one turned out. One combination that surprised me was with this Clantunian Raider torso from Star Wars. I flipped it around, paired it with some Uruk-hai legs, and covered the plain upper torso with a long beard. When you don't have official parts, you gotta get creative with parts from other themes, and I honestly love that about making custom minifigures. I also wanted to try using this huge dwarf beard, but unfortunately it doesn't fit underneath either of the helmets I've used so far, so I ended up giving him a standard Viking helmet instead. I'm still not totally sold on him, but let me know what you think down in the comments. Another great torso from the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit sets comes from Dwalin. I added some dual molded olive green and brown arms, paired it with the Uruk-hai legs, and used one of the brown Viking helmets again. The more I use these brown helmets, the more I like them, so I might have to order a few more. The classic combination of the Rohan torso with Yeomer's legs was too good not to use again, and Dwalin's head is perfect for giving this guy a grizzled veteran look, which I absolutely love. Every time I build flesh-toned figures, it gets a little harder to stick with yellow heads for my main figures, I can't lie. The Series 29 Monster Hunter legs are another affordable favorite of mine for archers, especially once you add some printed hips. I combined them with a Kingdom's chainmail torso to make a soldier that's absolutely covered in belts. Another really nice pair of legs comes from the Series 16 Rogue. I matched those with a Green Dragon scale mail torso, and I just love how well these colors work together. It's a shame LEGO doesn't make more dark green castle parts. As I mentioned earlier, dark red also shows up quite a bit in Rohan's color palette, so this leather armor torso from the Series 12 Hun Warrior was another easy choice. I paired it with the Uruk-hai legs, and I think it fits the faction really well. Next, I went back to Gimli's torso, but this time with some dark green arms and the actor CMF legs. Yet another rare pair of green legs, but they're a solid option if you already have them. I also reused that brown and olive green Viking torso from earlier, this time with the Monster Hunter legs. You may have noticed that I gave most of my archers a glove on their drawing hand, although some have 2 gloves and some have none. It's just little details like this which help each figure feel a bit more unique. Finally, for the last of the archers, I took the Series 4 Viking torso and some Beastmaster legs. It's a simple combination, but it's one that fits perfectly with the rest of the army. At this point, the army was looking pretty good, but something was still missing. A Rohan army isn't much of a Rohan army without horses. And there we go. Now that's a proper Rohan army. Honestly, I'm really happy with how this project turned out. Right now, it's probably the easiest it's been to build a custom Rohan army thanks to the Griffin Knight parts and Viking helmets that are available on Pick-a-Brick. Although I'd love to see LEGO bring back official Rohan soldiers someday. Better yet, give us a battle pack. Let me know down in the comments which figure was your favorite, and if you've built a Rohan army of your own, I'd love to hear about it. If you like LEGO Lord of the Rings, make sure to subscribe because I've got more custom minifigure and mock videos on the way. As always, thank you for watching.